What's happening, guys? Welcome back to Vertical Football. Welcome to the AFCON 2025 special. And guys, we're going to be doing a preview of the Nigeria versus Tanzania game. So guys, a lot of talking points. You know, when it's the Super Eagles of Nigeria, you cannot run out of talking points, really. There's always a lot to say. But let's look at, what we want to do is to look at Nigeria, our national team. We have a lot of things we need to improve upon. A lot. There are a lot of things we are getting. Obviously, when you look at, I know the DR Congo game was not a very decent game. It was not a very decent game. It was a game that really showed us our levels, you know. But we've been seeing some good things in previous games before that DR Congo game. And so I think it's nice that we're seeing those good things in terms of the ability to play the European kind of football and not play this our long, unnecessary kind of football. But the fact is, we've just been having that dominance. We've not really converted into good opportunities to score good goals, right? Fine goals, right? So, but the fact is, there's that progression, and obviously, it's a national team. As we said many times on this place, is the fact that, you know, it takes time to get the automatism into the play, especially from players that are coming from different areas of the world. So that is that. But also, we have to look at certain parts also that is not so nice in the national team, in terms of, first and foremost, our goalkeeping situation, that access of the goalkeeper and these defenders. It's a place that is always shaky. Whenever I watch the Super Eagles, that place is always shaky. Always shaky. So that's one of the issues. Our midfield, in terms of, you know, the position of our midfielders, which I've said sometimes, you know, sometimes even the positions that Iwobi takes in the midfield, you're like, what are you doing here? You should be up front, right? You should be up front. Sometimes the dynamics and not even knowing how to find each other, especially against DR Congo, it was quite evident, you know. The midfield didn't know how to find each other, right? So, and that was sad to see. So our wings is also a very big concern. So there are a lot of things that we need to still get in our game. It looks like some of our wingers are even off it, right? And so our forward, you know, Osimhen, but the fact is, without Osimhen, that team looks obviously weaker. DR Congo game showed us that. So, but let's look at our opponent. What are the challenges we're going to face in this game? And how should we deal with it? First and foremost, I've watched Tanzania's game. I did a research on them to see the kind of team they are. And I think one of the things I was very, very impressed when I analyzed them is the fact that the level of intensity they bring to every game is decent. For me, I think it's decent. And I like what I saw because I could see the intensity. Even though, yeah, a lot of the players are home-based players, which we'll talk about, you know, for them. But I could see the intensity. Every single action, I could see the level of intensity. And I was like, this intensity is decent. And I expect that the Super Eagles of Nigeria should be able to match that intensity and do more with that intensity. These are professional players. The Super Eagles, our players are playing for leagues of higher intensity. We have Premier League players there. We have the likes of Iwobi. We have the likes of Basi. Right? These are Premier League proven players that have an ability to match intensity. They live and breathe intensity in the Premier League, right? So I believe we should be able to meet that intensity and match it. I don't want to watch a game where we're not meeting that intensity. It won't be funny, really. But because I see that this intensity from Tanzania is a decent. Let me use the word decent intensity, which I expect the Super Eagles should match and supersede. That's one. Now, another thing about the Tanzanian team I saw is the fact that a lot of their play deals with on the wings. Let's just say they're a team that depend on wing play, right? Depend on wing play a lot in terms of wing play, in terms of fast breaks. Because I watched games where I saw that was a strategy, fast breaks, but not just fast breaks. Even in normal plays, they go to the wings and try to either cross in or do a cutback or what have you. So they have that ability to maximize their wing plays. And that's why for us, our left back, right back needs to be on their game. Not just the left back and the right back, even the wingers need to have a good defensive work rate, you know, to help out the fullbacks, right? To cut off all their supply from that area, right? We need that because I watch a lot of their games and I can say clearly that these guys, they depend on wing play. Intensity, but they depend on wing play. They really depend on wing play. And we need to cut their ability to play on the wings. We need to cut it. So another thing about them is I don't want to see this as a big issue, but I hope it doesn't get to there because sometimes our Super Eagles can just make us, they can just make us surprised. They have an ability to surprise us awkwardly, right? To surprise us in very, very bad situations. It's the fact that I see that these guys are, a lot of them are home-based players. So obviously, some of them are even teammates, right? Because when I look at them, I saw that there are 3 predominant teams that, in their league that has players in the first team. So we can expect that from them, we might have a little bit more automatism, a little bit more understanding, because I think they played Chan. I think a large chunk of them played Chan 2024. So I think you would expect that they have that more automatism. They have the more dynamics in their game. They understand where the other person is going to be. And I think we shouldn't allow them to enter into the flow. That's my main point. Because I felt that against DR Congo, for example, we allowed DR Congo enter the flow. First half, they didn't really get it. But immediately Osimhen was removed in that DR Congo game, we allowed them enter the flow. And I think we must not allow these guys enter any flow, because I don't think these guys have the ability to play to the degree to which DR Congo played us. But sometimes the funny thing about football is if you allow them enter the flow, you might just be surprised. Like the way DR Congo surprised us. We must not allow these guys enter the flow. Don't allow them enter the flow. I cannot keep repeating this. We must not allow them enter the flow. Please and please. So another thing also is the fact that I expect that they will, because of the way we are going to approach the game, try to be dominant, try to have the ball, try to make this happen. They would be leaving their natural habitat by trying to sit back and hit us on the counter-attack. And so our transition game, defensive transition game, must be top-notch. And also I don't want, because now, we saw in the DR Congo game, we also saw in some games, that's the game before the DR Congo game, right? Trying to remember the game, where we saw that we were playing in 2 halves. You understand? In 2 phases of the play, but we're not playing in the midfield. So we were only playing in the attack, we were playing in the defense, but our midfield was no existence. It was as the CDT were divided into 2. North Pole, South Pole. We don't want that. Because we want a situation whereby we are connected, because these guys will depend on fast breaks. And fast breaks majorly using the wings. So we need to be very, very active in all areas. I don't necessarily see them as a big threat if we actually do these things I've said. Match the intensity, cut them on the wings, don't let them enter the flow, be more aggressive, be more creative, hold up, have the ball, dictate the game, be dominant, and take your chances. I don't really see them as a big threat to us. But the fact is, we have to do the job. It's not about talking, we have to do the job. So guys, for me, I think, let me quickly go to the prediction, the scoreline prediction. I am looking towards a Nigeria 2-0 win. So Nigeria 2, Tanzania 0. I feel it will be a good way to start our AFCON journey. I'm always optimistic, for the Super Eagles, as everybody's always optimistic for the Super Eagles. And I think a 2-0 win will really, really be good. I think for me, what I'll be looking out in that game, as I said, is these things. What's our defensive transition like? Did we keep the consistency in our team together? I don't want to see North Pole, South Pole football. So I want us to see us compact together, playing in different phases of the game very, very well. So I want to see our wingers do their defensive duties, do their attacking duties. I want to see our fullbacks make Tanzania's life a living situation, So I want to see those things, and I hope that if we're able to do that, I believe we should be able to win this game. So guys, I know you have your own opinion on what they will offer us in terms of, their own strengths and what we can use to also hurt them, and vice versa, So guys, drop it in the comment section. What do you think are our strengths and our weaknesses? What do you think is their own strengths and weaknesses? And also, most importantly, drop your scoreline prediction. Let us know what do you think is going to be the scoreline between Nigeria and Tanzania. So thank you very much for sticking with me. I remain my humble self, Shago. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and most importantly, don't forget to share. Until I see you next time. Bye.